Hello and welcome back to Sunk Costs from IT to GRP. This week's upload will contain lots of different things that I've been working on, and I've had to write lots of things down. So one of the things I've created is a stand or a base for the tripod which the camera sits on. So I've created a base which I'll affix this weight to, which means I'll be able to use more sort of looking down angles on the tripod. Issue with it, if I leant too far forward, the tripod would tip over. So I've made this little base with a counterweight, which will go on. That'll help my filming. But what I've done over the past week is loads of different things. I've sort of finished off the cabin lights. I've created some timbers to help sort of finish the ceiling. Done a load of work with the water pump. Drilled out in the head, the fiberglass. That's another good thing. I've been working on getting the horn connected and running. I've also been working on the fridge, seeing if I could get that going. Yeah, they're all the things that I've sort of been working on. So it's quite a long video this week with lots of different things in it. So I've had to chop and change quite a bit. And you'll notice that the haircut. So as I chop and change between filming, you'll see me with long hair, short hair, long hair, short hair, long hair, short hair. It's just how it is. I needed a summer cut. My dear wife went and got the clippy out. But before I go on to sort of all the different bits I've been working on, I just wanted to talk about, I guess, what you call health markers. So this is 7 weeks now into my retirement, and I spent a little bit of time over the weekend comparing my health to whilst working to how it is now, and it is quite shocking. I'm quite stunned. So I'll just go through them, and I say I've had to write them down. So I've lost half a stone, 7 pounds, which, putting this counterweight on here, I've lost 2.5 of these in weight since finishing work. I'm eating cleaner, far fewer biscuits. I'm a biscuit monster. I will always be a biscuit monster, but I haven't had the need to consume large amounts of biscuits. So lost half a stone, which is great. I'm heading in the right direction. I've got an iWatch. It monitors lots of sort of vital signs. And what it's showing is that my heart rate variability, which is the sort of the gaps between each pulse, the variance in those. And that's increased from 28 milliseconds to 31 milliseconds, which I don't know if the numbers aren't particularly important, I don't think. But the increase in that variability means my heart is more flexible, more able to deal with different stresses put upon it. So that's in a good direction. And my resting heart rate has plummeted. It was a reasonable 55 beats per minute, but my resting heart rate has now dropped to 45 beats per minute, which again means my heart is under a lot less stress. That linked with the variability, it's more able to respond and run efficiently, flexibly. So I'm really chuffed about that. And of course, I'm not driving a desk anymore all day, every day. My average miles that I move have increased from 4.3 miles a day to 5.1 miles per day. So I'm clearly moving a hell of a lot more now I'm retired. And the energy that I burn, the active energy, which is over and above sort of resting energy burn, has leapt from 350 calories to 560, which is, I don't know, what, 40% increase in energy that I'm using up. Helps, I guess, losing weight and becoming healthier. I'm on my feet far more often. So instead of an average of 10 hours a day, it's 16 hours per day that I'm moving. So superb. And of course, steps has gone from 7,000 steps per day on average to 10,000 steps per day on average. So I'm really chuffed about those figures. I am absolutely stunned by how quickly my health has improved since getting away from work. So clearly work was pretty bad for my health. I'm happy, and I've said, I think, in the past about the mental health has been night and day. The stress, the pressure of work, the frustration of work, the daily frustration of trying to get things done, and just turgid. Whereas now, I'm making, I'm creating. Two fishermen, who knew? Where was I? Yeah, the stress levels plummeted, far more healthier, far happier. I'm creating, I'm doing, I'm in control of what I do now, and I love it. Right, that's me, Bonza. Let's crack on with all the stuff I'm going to be doing. I think that way, or that way. Anyway. So first thing I'm doing today is wiring up this last remaining cabin light. So I've just been terminating the two ends, and maybe I'm getting better at that. It all went first time. So we have this cabin light, got mains, got electrics on, and I have a light. So what I want to do now is feed that up. Whoops. That goes on there. That still works. So let's roughly centre it to hide the previous holes. 1, 2, 3 within drilling location. And I can't get that up there. Try that again. Three holes, cover those. See if I can get the next one up. C'est bon. Excellent. One job complete. Well, that was probably about the best 10 quid I've spent in a long time. Pulled it tight, and it did the job. I've just been outside just dusting off Um, the head is a cloud of dust at the moment, so I'm just, the window's open in there, just let the air circulate for a half hour or so. The angle grinder with a metal blade, or metal cutting blade, made a lot easier job of it, but the dust was just unbelievable, and super fine fiberglass. It is not the sort of thing I want to go inhale. So I'm going to carry on dusting myself off for a bit and be outside for a while. Let's show you what I've done in the head. Now hopefully it's cleared a little bit. So you can see that I've cut out the lid, and I can now get down into the bottom there. It's all covered in fiberglass dust, so I can ladle that out now, cut this ply off which is rotten, and put a new piece on top after I've sealed with fresh fiberglass the bits I've cut out. So that should be pretty straightforward to do, although it will take time. Let's close that up for now. I think I'll just remove my tools and leave that until another day. I cut a piece of ply, so I want to see if that would fit here. That was in there. And a piece of timber underneath. Can't see. I could clip that in. Does that actually achieve much? There's not a lot of movement, but yeah, I think I could do something with that. If I mark it with a pen to say if that was sort of drilled here and out to here, I could clip 15mm in there, and that metal clip for the clear pipe could just hold it, although a little bit loose, at least it holds. I've now got the camera mounted onto that block with the weight and got a nice downward shot now. I'm really pleased with that. So I've got this, and I'm going to mount the two brackets. So I've got one white bracket for the white pipe, and that just to sort of hold the clear plastic one. And I just want to first of all mark up that should fit on about there, and if that mounts on there like that, I'll need the white pipe around there and the clear one about there. That's clear, CL, and that is the white. Now we've got these fitted now. let's see if that goes on about there. That goes on there. That goes on, clips on there. Nice. Then let's see if that sits nicely about there. As always, limited space. Off camera, I'll just make sure that all the joints are in properly. I know these immediate ones are, but I think the ones further along the line are not necessarily, and I don't think I put sleeves into those, so I'll do that off camera. But all in all, I think we're there. Ain't gonna move in a hurry. Brilliant. Tick. I think I'm about done here for now. Made sure the pipes are all fully inserted and the strengthening sleeves inserted. This now is secured to the side and to the underside of this new piece, so that's good. I've tidied the wires up. I put these sort of tie wrap things or zip ties on there to secure that. I've also secured this inline fuse so that doesn't rattle around, and you'll see that I've got this belt off a sort of a suitcase thing. Let's just tighten that up a little bit more. That way, that way. That now means that the batteries are in there securely and can be disconnected if needed. So that's done, that's done, that's done, and that's done. Bonza. Time for another coffee break, I think. And I can put that away for a while. This is the fridge, and I have never ever looked. Let's zoom you out a little bit. I've never turned the fridge on. It's not wired up. It's sort of secured in a cupboard, and I've got some power cable. There are some old power coming in there. Yeah, it does. Well, I'll show you what we've got. It looks like there's a couple of 2.5 inch wires there. So the red cable comes in there, and I would have thought the black is, unless the other one is the earth. So they could be those. I could clean that out and get power there and see if that works. So that's something I could do as well. Removal is always, well, normally the easiest bit. don't think I'm going to trust anything. So this is, so they could do shore power to there, or battery. Well, we've got no, there is no shore power fitted at the moment. I might do that in the future, I might not. Something else to have a think about, I think. Just for the moment, I've fixed those two connectors up there, and I've pulled the two new cables through, fed them under the floor, and I've actually taken off the front piece for the engine. I've never done that before, so I'm going to have a look-see at that later on. Just give it a visual, and it looks pretty good. I temporarily put this power cable positive from the positive buzz bar to that, which feeds down to the fridge, but I've just found the user manual for the fridge, which says you're meant to use mains power to get it down to a operating temperature and then use the battery. And I don't know if I just connected up the battery when it was, although it's pretty chilly at the minute, whether that will draw too much power and do some damage. I don't know enough about fridge electrics, so I'm going to have to go home and read up before I look to temporarily lash the fridge up to test it. That's a shame. That's a shame. Okay, so let's move on to ceiling bits. I'll show you what I've got in mind. Now, a couple of weeks ago I was making up these bits of timber, to just sort of cutting them to length, putting a chamfer on there, tidying them up, and that's going to go onto there to cover the gap. And there's another long piece front to back there. And I was thinking that there are three other bits where there's either this tatty white plastic or nothing at all right at the bow. So I've cut several more that I'm starting to chamfer down, and it's too wide. I want to see slightly different lengths, so I want to just measure up to see what is the, certainly for this one here, we go with the shortest first, which is that one. Now that would fit nicely up to there. All I want to do is to mark off each of them. So that is there. Let's call that one midships. Next one's. So that's the next shortest, and that's lovely length. I can cut that to there. So that is bow, port. That's good. To there. This is starboard. Now it looks like the horn comes in here, right up in that corner. So I need to get these, this piece off. And then let's get this ceiling down. Now these screws are probably knackered. Broken. Had to undo the whole of this. The wires are visible here, but they seem to be on the inside of the plywood, or some of the timbers. Tricky. Do I risk taking part of the window out? Is that where it's hidden? I don't know what this will tell me, but it's worth a look. I don't want the glass to fall out the front and smash. That'd be the worst case scenario. Ooh. Well, it's certainly airy down here. So there's the main plywood frame. So it implies it's 2-ply. I'm thinking to get it working, I'm just going to have to bring the cables down on the outside for now, feed down the gap, because these things, I'm not going to be able to use them as a draw wire. I've tried to strip the wire. I tried stripping the wire, but previous person had just twisted 2 bits of wire together and they were just rusty and rotten, and so scrapped the old, and I just had to temporarily just drill through and feed that cable down, fitted the horn up in the overhang there, and I've just to check the terminations I've done, I'll just point you down a little bit. So I've just fed the cable through underneath the console, and if I just see if I can touch red and earth. Whoa, that's loud. Jeez. I think what I'll do now is put that ceiling back up there, because it's not, that is just below, so I can put that back up out of the way, and then I think I'll call it quits for this week. Made a huge amount of progress. I'm really pleased how it's gone, but I think I'm done for the day. Well, that's me done for this week. Made huge amounts of progress in lots of areas. I'm really pleased how it's gone. Still loads more to get done, finishing that horn. Still got to make the ingress safe. But generally really pleased. And it's dry at long last. Yeah, I will put all of that footage together as best I can and get it out for Friday. So thanks for watching. Remember, be kind to others and to yourself, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.